Good evening, everyone. My name is Randy Parker, and I'm president here at Guilford Technical Community College. And I want to thank you for joining us this evening. The Student Excellence Award ceremony honors our students who have excelled academically, contributed to GCC and in their communities, and are working to achieve their goals. Students who have placed in regional and national competitions or who have met rigorous academic standards are also recognized for their achievements this evening. Tonight, I'd like to recognize two special guests that we have with us. First, our board chair, Susan Ault, and Dr. Darrell Saunders from our state board is here, all the way from Raleigh. But he actually lives in Archdale and has a granddaughter here at our nursing program, I think, right? That's right. So thank you both for being here. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, who is a graduate of Gtcc and is doing great things in this community. When Gustavo Smith became a father, he made a promise to himself and to his two daughters that he would give them a better life than he had had. A native of Arizona, Gustavo fell into the wrong crowd in his early teens and joined a gang. His choices eventually landed him in prison, and he served 10 years for aggravated robbery. But the birth of his firstborn, Alicia, followed by the birth of his second daughter, Brianna, 2 years later, sparked a new beginning. Becoming a father transformed Gustavo from a man with a difficult past and no direction to a college-bound, loving father with a mission. His first step toward fulfilling this promise was enrolling at Gtcc in spring of 2011. As a single parent, he struggled to balance work, school, and raising two baby girls. There were times he didn't have transportation and couldn't afford childcare. He and his daughters were even homeless at one point, living out of his van during his first semester. But Gustavo never lost his faith. He stayed determined and preserved. In 2013, Gustavo graduated with honors and received an associate's degree from Gtcc. And 4 years ago, he sat where you are sitting tonight and received the 2013 Academic Excellence Award from the North Carolina Community College System, which recognizes one student from each of the 58 community colleges for their achievements. During his time at Gtcc, he served as a fatherhood advocate for Triad Baby Love Plus and a community health coach for NC Health Start organization. He used his story as a single parent to inspire other fathers to take on a more active role in the lives of their children and their community. He even spoke on Capitol Hill advocating for continued funding for organizations providing family care services. He continues to support and serve as a fatherhood advocate for North Carolina Baby Love Plus and the North Carolina Children's Home Society. Gustavo went on to graduate with honors from A&T University and with a bachelor's degree in social work in 2016. Today, he is the executive director of his own nonprofit organization, Cloud Inc., which stands for Community, Leadership, Organizing, Unity, and Development. Through Cloud, Gustavo and his team of fellow graduates continue to serve local communities in creating youth leadership, offering community leader support, providing training for transformative thinking, and an empowerment process for underprivileged families. In addition, he is a health educator for Piedmont Health Services Sickle Cell Agency in High Point, where he provides educational training for teens in a teen pregnancy prevention program. He remains actively involved in his community. His outreach includes empowering at-risk youth, families, and an incarcerated parent, returning citizens, juvenile offenders, and ex-gang members. Let's please join us in welcoming Gustavo as our guest speaker tonight. What a great story. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the warm welcome. I really do appreciate the opportunity, the chance to come here tonight and talk to you all. Just today, my daughters and I was at the Sheetz gas station right up the street. And it's still kind of funny that I do remember when we were in the van, and my van shut off right there at that same Sheetz gas station. The more I tried to turn that thing on, it just wouldn't go nowhere. So what wound up happening is that's the same time they actually repossessed our van. And me and my daughters were sitting out on the curb with all our stuff. And I had no money. I didn't have no resources. And at the time, I know I had tried to find a place for us to stay within Guilford County, but unfortunately, they didn't have a place that would house a single father with 2 baby girls. And here I am sitting over there at Sheetz, and I was like, oh, Lord, what am I going to do now? All our stuff is out here. You know, I got my daughters with me. It just so happened that I came back to my family, which is Gtcc. And I went in and I told them, I said, okay, I haven't really told y'all what was going on with me, but let me tell you what's going on. So I told them what had happened. A couple hours later, the church was called. They came, picked us up, put all our belongings in the car, and took us down to the hotel. And that's how I eventually started getting back on my feet. See, at the time, I was very discouraged because all I really wanted to do was get an education. After having done 10 years in prison, I knew that the opportunities for me to find a good job out here was very slim, because a lot of people don't like to take chances on somebody that's been in prison before. And I felt that, you know, if I could get a good education, I could finally provide a better life for my daughters. I did have some family support, but family basically were in the same position I was in, that they really didn't have it to help me. And at the time when I started going here to Gtcc, I had the issue of I was driving a cab, and I had to have my daughters driving the cab with my daughters in there with me. Now, imagine driving a cab with a newborn baby in the front, and my other daughter in the back, and she was in pull-ups. So I'm changing pull-ups over here, changing the Pampers over here, you know, feeding a bottle here, giving food back over here. It was just picking people up and so on and so forth. It was one thing after another. But I stayed determined. I stayed determined to make something of myself, and I stayed determined to stay here at Gtcc, even despite the hard road I had in order to continue my education. Even walking all the way down High Point Road, that was called High Point Road at the time, now it's called something else, but walking from the hotel all the way here to get to class, or I'd have to, because I had a late class and the bus didn't run all the way back to High Point, I had to walk back all the way to High Point to get back to the hotel. But you know, it was a minor inconvenience, and I did sweat a lot, and you know, it was definitely a struggle trying to walk that far. But I'm very happy that I made a decision to stick with my education. And going back to thinking about, you know, what started this all, even before I had the issues that I was facing with, you know, being homeless and so on and so forth. I remember thinking about my life as it used to be. See, sometimes, you know, a hero, you know, could be in our midst, and you will never even recognize him or her for who they really are. In my case, if I go back to tell you about the very beginning, as you all know, I'm from Arizona, and my playground at the time, back when I was younger, was playing with tumbleweeds. And we had pets like horny toads and, and rattlesnakes. Actually, my first job was rattlesnake hunting. I used to go out with my uncle, and we used to pull rattlesnakes out by the tail. And they used to chop that rattlesnake head off and, cut the rattlesnake over. We used to make belts and boots out of snake skin. That was my first job. And then after that, I also remember my uncle also used to take us out into the desert for what would be my second job, which was really to cover up for the first job. See, being born or living around the border of the United States and Mexico, there's basically three trades. There's human trade, there's drug trade, and gun trade. Well, my family happened to be involved in all of that. So naturally, me being a young family member, it's things that I couldn't really escape from. I know that one of those times, well, there was a few times, but I tried to question that. And questioning family about, that kind of lifestyle is not something that you do. So I learned real quick not to do that anymore. But the memories I have of that was, the second job was to go out into the desert and pretend like we were putting out fences to mark property. But really what we were doing is going out there to see if we can find a family member, or somebody might have called my uncle and said, well, we have some family that try to cross the desert, and we don't know where they're at, we haven't seen them. And I used to go out into the desert with my uncle, and we'd go hunt them to see if we can go find them. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of knowing what 130-degree heat does to a human body, but the first images I've ever had of what I would call a hero was this mass, charred remains of a woman holding on to her child. And that smell, unbearable. But I'll never forget that to this day, because when I looked down at her, and I was thinking to myself, Jesus, what in the world is this? And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, she's definitely a hero to me, because she was still holding on to her child despite. Now, that kind of tragedy or extraordinary type situation seemed to follow me from that moment on. I wound up leaving home at 9 years old because I got tired of being with an abusive father. See, my thing with my dad was, my father was from the West Virginia coal mines. That's what he was for, or where he was from. But he wanted to move into Arizona to work in the copper mines. That's where he met my mother. My father has Egyptian, Ghanaian, and Swedish blood. My mom is Guatemalan and Brazilian. So, yes, I represent a few continents, but But I was always fearful of my father because of the way he disciplined us. He had that old school discipline structure about him. And one time he told me, well, if you don't like the rules and regulations in my house, you can get out. And that's exactly what I did. I did that at 9 years old, same age as my oldest daughter right now. Can't imagine the kind of people that I met at 9 years old, the ones pretending to be my friends. I could tell you about the other heroes I met, young girls that was around my age, witnessing what kind of abuse and horrors that they went through at an age when I wasn't able to do anything for them or help them. And it dawned on me that, at that young age that, nobody really cares about anybody like me, because I was a runaway. I was no good. They didn't have Amber Alerts or anything like they do now, so there was a lot of us out on the street during that time. And one thing led to another. I wound up having a resentment towards men in general, even actually being taken into a house where sex was the trade of the day. And the lady who took me in wound up becoming like my second mother. Now, ironically, she had a degree, and I believe it was in sociology, and she used to go around teaching women about international rights, talking about, their rights as a U.S. citizen. And most of the females that lived in the house were all sold into the sex slave industry. And the scars, not only physically, but emotionally, that I saw there living at the house, basically painted the world, the image of the world as being very cruel, very nasty. It was very hard for me to kind of like think that maybe things would change for me, and I was very disgusted with the world and what the world was capable of doing to people like us living there. Eventually, she was the one that told me, I don't want you to have anything to do with this kind of lifestyle. What I want you to do is go to school. And she forced me to read. She forced me to sit down and work math problems out. She taught me business as she knew it. She would come and say, what is cornucopia? I was like, what's that, some type of candy or something? But she used to test me because she said that Malcolm X told her that education was a passport to the future. It belongs to those who prepare for it today. Now I said, Malcolm X told you that? And she was like, yeah, because see, I like to read stuff about Malcolm X at times, so she used that as a way to kind of get my attention, and so that I would know that, get educated, get educated, get educated. That's what she was trying to tell me. Well, a few years after that, she wound up passing away. She was on a trip somewhere in India, I believe. And the last I heard is that because she was talking about international rights to women who were basically property, they were all killed. Her and the girls on the third floor were all killed. So I wound up leaving that house and going back home for a little while. Then I wound up going back out on the street again because every time I went home, nothing changed with my father's situation in life. And I decided, I said, okay, well, if you're not going to change and it's going to be the same way in this house as it's always been, as much as I've been through, then I'm just going to leave again. Leaving out, I want to be embraced by guys who felt just like I did. They felt like they didn't have a spot in the world. They felt isolated, alienated, marginalized, discriminated against. Racial oppression was real during that time because, see, I was mixed. See, it took Michael Jackson and Prince to come out to kind of make, mixed guys, have some kind of favor. I always say that. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that. I was always treated as an outcast because I was mixed. And I was always an object of, being bullied and so on and so forth. So when I finally met a group of guys who were just as fed up as I was, the attraction to remain with them was what was a lot easier. See, there's two types of education that I know that I've already had. One is a formal type education, which you heard already from my introduction as far as like what I did during school. But then there's the informal, which when I was younger was more prevalent than formal. So because of that, I wound up thinking that I can embrace the attitudes of all of those around me, even though if they're all negative, because those are only images that I had in my mind. They were the ones I was most comfortable with. They were the ones that I knew that I could excel at. Well, that didn't bring me much luck either. I would say my third job was joining a 12-man group, elected because of my ability to go out into enemy territory, so to speak. And as a result of all of that, I'm the only one left living out of 12 of us. 3 of them, my homies, closest homies, I held in my arms while they took their last breath. Now, thinking about how that tragedy should have changed me, should have, knocked me upside the head and be like, boy, do something better with yourself. That's not what happened. I became more resentful. I became more angry, more frustrated, until finally I wound up resorting to things like drugs in order to kind of like make me feel better. Or I started doing activities and behaviors that eventually wanted to put me in prison. In prison, that whole thing about rehabilitation, I hate to say it, but in most cases it's a joke. And the reason why that's the case is because prison is made for punishment. Rehabilitation in prison only comes when the person realizes that enough is enough. You ever heard that expression, sick and tired of being sick and tired? Well, it's the same way it is in prison. You know, in order for you to get the kind of rehabilitation to come out into society and do something with yourself, you have to get to a point where you're just tired of being tired. And I know millions of dollars going to the prison system, and probably prison officials don't like for me to tell the truth about rehabilitative programs in prison, but they're honestly a joke. The reason why a lot of us that get out of prison come out and wind up going back in because you learn no real coping skills. You don't know where to turn to when you can't find a job. You don't know who to turn to when you're feeling depressed, or when you want to do as I did, just be a father. Out of all the jobs I've ever had in my life, the job of being a father is the best one for me. I've never, ever experienced anything that gave me so much joy in my life. As I look at my daughters, thinking about how hard the road has been since I've been out of prison, I could also look at them, see them in their beds at nighttime with their little faces and their eyes shut, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I didn't do too bad. I really didn't. So, in saying that, I would like all of you to see, you can't make excuses for not being your own hero or being a hero to somebody else. Regardless of the situations, life circumstances that you've been through, there are ways out. It takes for you to reach outside of yourself sometimes and reach out to somebody else and tell your story. See, all of us have stories in here. My story isn't the only story in here. In some cases, it's extraordinary because, I've been living through extraordinary circumstances. But at the same time, I know that what I went through was for a reason. It's so that I could be in a position like I am right now, standing right here in front of you, knowing what you all just heard about me, hearing the results, and hoping that nobody in here would be able to judge another person if they said, you know what, I've been in prison, or you know what, I'm homeless, or you know what, I need your help, or you know what, I've been discriminated against, or I feel marginalized, or I feel depressed. It's because those of you here tonight who are about to be honored for your academic achievements, you all are heroes. I admire you all because I wish I would have been able to be that kind of hero at your age instead of having to do it at my age now. But I encourage you all to do like I did. Tell your story. Go out there and empower somebody else who really needs to be empowered. There's a whole generation of youth around us living in communities that suffered the same kinds or close to the same types of circumstances that I did coming up. And they need somebody there. You struggle to get to where you are now academically. And there's others who would appreciate if you came and showed them a better image, especially when it comes to an educational pursuit. Because some of us, with the images that we're surrounded by in our environment, it's too easy to succumb to them. And therefore, repeat a perpetual cycle that instead of empowering our youth, it actually destroys them. I could have easily been destroyed, but it took faculty, it took administrators, it took people who were in the oddest places to be able to tell me, look, I do care, I do want to help, and this is what I want to do. So I encourage all of you in here who are about to come up on this stage and get an award to make sure that you do the same thing. Pass that on to somebody else. Don't let this just be a memory for you. Turn this memory into something memorable for somebody else to follow. The last time I was up here on stage, and I came up here to get my Academic Excellence Award, my daughters were a lot smaller than they are now, but they would not sit in the seat. They had to come up here on stage and shook everybody's hands too. But that memory stayed ingrained in me, and it pushes me every day. See, it's easy for somebody who's used to or accustomed to or has been introduced to the other side of negativity to remain that way. But it takes a lot more courage, a lot more bravado, a lot more hero to do the opposite. That's what I encourage all of you all to do. So I hope you all enjoyed my story, and I encourage all of you to not only be heroes, but go out and mentor your youth as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo, for your comments. You're an inspiration to all of us, and we're so proud of you. Good evening. My name is Dr. Allison Weirs, and I'm the Associate Vice President of Student Support Services. This evening, we are talking about students from different clubs and organizations. Our clubs and organizations offer our students the opportunity to be involved in educational experiences outside of the classroom. As a result, the students that are in clubs and organizations have an opportunity to participate in many activities, such as volunteer work, fundraising, and academic competitions. The students that we're going to introduce to you tonight are students that have been a part of regional or national academic competitions and have also had the opportunity to achieve academic credentials that have given them the opportunity to be a part of organizations with selective membership. So for our first introduction this evening, I'd like to introduce Barry Cross and have her come and introduce some of the students that have received awards this evening.
My name is Barry Cross. I'm the Director of Student Life here at Gtcc, and it's my pleasure to recognize the recipients of the nationally recognized Who's Who among students in American colleges and universities. Will those students please join me on stage? In order to receive this award, the students must meet eligibility criteria. Students must have completed at least 24 semester credit hours in an associate's degree program, including 15 semester credit hours at Gtcc, been enrolled for at least 2 consecutive semesters prior to the current semester, maintain a GPA of 2.8 or higher, and are currently enrolled in at least 4 semester credit hours. They're going to stay on stage, and then y'all can clap for them at the end. How about that? Chelsea Brown. Bondman Beal. Tawana Falk. Donna Herring. Jennifer Lee. Sharon McGregor. Cedric Ruff, Doris Turner, Paige Turner Jr., and Jamie Tucker. Please join me in congratulating the recipients of Who's Who among students.
Good evening. My name is Jason W. Johnson. I'm a professor in English and Humanities. I'm also advisor for Phi Theta Kappa, our honor society. And I'm a nominator, which sounds a lot more impressive than it is, for 2 scholarships, national scholarships. One is called the All-USA College Academic Community College Scholarship, and one is called the Coca-Cola Community College Academic Scholarship. We normally nominate between 1 and 2 students. This year we have 1 student. The competition is actually fairly fierce. In order to be nominated by me and usually a committee of 2 or 3 other people, they have to meet certain academic criteria, and they have to write an essay responding to a prompt. And I'll just read the prompt. It's very short, don't worry. Describe your most significant endeavor since attending community college in which you applied your academic or intellectual skills from your community college education to benefit your school, community, or society. We're looking for, when we read these essays from our students, we're looking for a particular type of student. A student who has an idea of community service and find ways to incorporate what they learn here into the kind of service they do in their community, or in the case of our nominee this year, in another community. Mandana Delgi, would you like to come up, please? Mandana Delgi went on a missions trip, 2 years ago? This past summer. I actually did do research, I promise. Went on a missions trip this past summer to Pittsburgh, in which she was a part of a 2-church project that created a sports camp for children. She was also, during the evenings, I don't think they slept, but during the evenings they also did community service work. They prepared meals with another church for patients and parents at the Ronald McDonald House in Pittsburgh. They did community beautification projects, and they put on a festival for children as well. She claims in the essay, and I'm willing to believe her, that she learned a great deal from professors in how to be a leader, how to deal with difficult situations, and how to be more organized. So please join me in congratulating her on being nominated for the Challenge Award.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patrick Sinecki, and I'm an assistant professor in the Culinary Arts and Hospitality Management program. We're going to be honoring our Culinary Knowledge Bowl champions tonight. For those of you, if you read the little snippet in there, what it is kind of a high-paced Jeopardy-style competition, because to be a good chef, you need more than just a good pair of these. You need one of these, too. So they go through thousands and thousands of pages of text to prepare for this competition. We've been preparing since August, 3, 4, 5 times a week, weekends, nights, holidays, getting ready for this competition, which took place in the end of February in New York City. This is the first team from Gtcc to win in its first attempt. Usually it takes 2 tries for them to get there. It just shows the level of commitment that these women put in this evening. The ACF is the American Culinary Federation, and that's the nation's largest chef organization, which holds this competition in every region. So there's 4 regions, similar, you guys all like basketball, same concept, Final 4. And as of this evening, in February, they're Final 4 bound. I do want to do a quick story about our captain, who's actually not here because she's working. Her restaurant, right towards the end of the competition, went out of business. And as soon as we won, I got a call from one of the local country clubs and said, "Hey, congratulations on your success. I want to hire one of your students." I said, "Okay, somebody you're looking for? I want somebody from the team." "Okay, a student just lost their job. How about this person?" "Great, send them in, we'll get them started." I said, "How did it go, Sydney? How was the job interview?" Oh, there was an interview. He hired me on the spot, and I'm working tomorrow. So that's kind of a testament to the level of success and recognition that our program has in the community and what this has kind of built students and building the rest of their knowledge. I also want to send a special thanks to our co-coach, Michelle Prairie. Without her, we wouldn't be able to get where we were with helping me get them prepared between our two jobs and everything else we're doing. So I'd like to bring all of them up there here so we can recognize them. And this July, so set your calendar, July 11th at 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll be competing against 3 of the 4 past national champions in Orlando. And we are going to Disney, as they would say. So we have Haley Bird, Brisa Clark.
Hi. My name is Melissa Maley. I'm Associate Professor in the Humanities Department, and I'm coordinator of the North Carolina Global Scholars Program. Tonight, we're honoring our Global Scholar graduates for their distinction in this program that's really a pilot program. 9 other community colleges in the state are doing this program in conjunction with Worldview out of Chapel Hill. To graduate in this program, our students have to complete 5 globally focused courses with a 3.0 GPA or higher. In addition, they have to attend 8 hours of international campus events. And if that isn't enough, they also have to complete a 30-hour study abroad or in-state global service learning project. And then finally, to cap it all off, and many of them are doing this actually tomorrow, they do a capstone presentation before the whole college. So we're very proud of these graduates, and if the ones that are here would come up, we have 10 graduates this year in the program, and it looks like 5 are here tonight. Oh, 6 next year, yay. We have one, I promise. Congratulations. I'm very proud of all of them.
Good evening. I'm Carla Cole, allergy sufferer and faculty advisor to the Model United Nations Club. Model UN is a simulation-based competition in which individual students take on the role of delegates representing different countries and debate timely international issues with the goal of writing comprehensive resolutions in intense 3-day events. The students work in their committees over 20 hours in a 2.5-day time period. They compete against students from colleges and universities throughout the nation. At this time, I would like to invite Lindsay Pendleton and Sherzar Crippen to the stage. As club president, Lindsay's displayed exceptional leadership, mentoring novice delegates, being an established, outstanding delegate through several competitions in the Southeast, and most recently, being selected as the first community college student in history to serve on the Southern Regional Model United Nations staff as the Assistant Director for the International Court of Justice. This is one of the most prestigious Model United Nations organizations in the country. Additionally, Lindsay's received several Model United Nations awards, including Most Diplomatic, Perfect Score Position Paper, and 3 Outstanding Delegate Awards. Lindsay currently serves as the chair of the Greensboro College Commission, has been and continues to be actively involved in local politics. In his spare time, Lindsay creates incredible hand-carved figures, which were featured on Fox 8 News. In addition to her Model United Nations work, Sherazar has been serving Black Lives Matter for nearly a year and locally acts as the communications chair and liaison to the Southern Network for the Greensboro chapter. She has fought oppression in the form of police brutality, capitalism, white supremacy through numerous protests, including Standing Rock and the Charlotte Uprising. Sherazar's studies in political science at Gtcc and traveling for activist-based training have informed her work in the fight for Black liberation. She's participated in Model United Nations since August of 2015, winning awards for Most Improved, Outstanding Delegation, and Best Hair. She is currently creating curricula for an intergenerational community educational club aimed at teaching social justice activism and community organizing for young people. In her downtime, she's an avid cosplayer and Naruto fan. Lindsay and Sherazar most deservedly receive Outstanding Delegate Awards for their performance at the UNC Charlotte competition last fall. They represented the United States in the United Nations Environmental Assembly and demonstrated exemplary leadership and diplomacy, building relationships with historically hostile nations. It is my honor to present Lindsay Pendleton and Sherazar Griffin with their Outstanding Delegate Awards.
Good evening. I'm Audrey Floyd. I'm the faculty advisor for the Gtcc flight team. And the Gtcc flight team is part of the National Intercollegiate Flying Association. NIFA is the abbreviation for that. And they host regional competitions in the fall and a national competition in the spring. And at this point, I'd like to bring Logan Wicks up. Logan competed in the fall regional event in November, and there's several different events that make up the competition. He placed second in the aircraft recognition, 5th in scan, 6th in the flight simulator event, and 1st in pre-flight. And then on the flight event side, he placed 7th in navigation and 2nd in power-off accuracy landings. When they totaled up all of the points, Logan had more than anyone else there, and so he was awarded the top pilot for the competition. He was competing against other pilots that many of whom had been flying several more years and had twice as many hours. But when it all was said and done, he beat them all. So we're very proud of him, and he'll be going for Gtcc and competing in the national competition this May in Columbus, Ohio. Also, I will say that Logan is well on his way to getting his airline transport pilot certificate, and next time you fly, listen carefully to when they introduce the flight crew, because you might be privileged enough to be on one of his flights. So please help me congratulate Logan Wicks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Faircloth, and I serve as the Skills USA Chapter Advisor here at Guilford Tech. Skills USA is a national student organization specifically for career and technical education. It is a partnership between business industry, school faculty, administration, and students to ensure that the United States has a qualified workforce to fill those jobs in technical areas. Those areas include everything from advertising design, carpentry, automotive, cosmetology, you name it for a technical trade is a part of that, including health careers as well. Students start by paying a membership fee, and as well as advisors can also join as well. So as a paid student member, students can participate at the state conference and contest in their respective trade fields. And this contest is held annually in April. And so if time permits, next week on the 27th, the Greensboro Coliseum is the main host area for those contests. I encourage you to check that out. We will have 70 contestants competing this year. A couple of the contests have already been held, like welding and HVAC, but the majority of the contests are held on the 27th. Some of those being held here at Guilford Tech or at the Greensboro campus, including CNC, advertising design, culinary arts right next door as well. So winning first place at state qualifies the students to compete at the national level. That's held in June in Louisville, Kentucky for the past 2 years. We are fortunate enough, because of the support of our administration here, that the administration has decided last year to pay the state registration fee, and also through funding, they help pay the way for the students to compete at the national level in Louisville, Kentucky. The foundation also provides support in the uniforms that students have to wear, like I am modeling here. So 2016 was a banner year for Guilford Tech. There were 102 members, 81 of those being student members. Of those, 60 contestants competed in their respective contests according to their trade area and leadership contest as well. 11 of those students finished in first place in the state, which advanced into the national level. The majority of those students did place 5th or higher at the state. So of those 11 students, 9 students went on to compete at the national conference, and of those 9 students, 5 of them placed in the top 5, and 3 of them winning medals. So I'd like to recognize those 5 individuals that achieved that award. I'm not sure if any of them are here tonight or not, but let me go down the list and tell you who they are. 5th place was Amanda Bird in medical assisting, and her advisor is Miss Kim Cannon. 4th place was Brittany Griffin in dental assisting, and her advisor is Linda Snyder. 3rd place, winning a bronze medal, was Kathleen King in criminal justice. Her advisor is Mr. Eric Holloman. 2nd place was Danielle Dobson, who competed in the only leadership contest for us, Health Occupations Professional Portfolio, and her trade area is dental assisting, and her advisor is Ms. Linda Snyder. And last but not least, first place winning gold medal for the first time in restaurant service was Ariel Davis, and her instructor is Mr. L.J. Rush. Thank
you. Good evening, one and all. I am Quentin Johnson, Vice President for Student Support Services at Gtcc. I'm going to talk with you briefly about 2 award categories, the Community Service Award and the Perseverance Awards. As we know, we recognize that so many of our students have lives outside of the classroom, and their life's experiences are challenging, as our speaker, Gustavo Smith, shared. So if you can imagine juggling families, jobs, life's responsibilities, health issues, transportation issues, all types of responsibilities while in college, our students do this and do it well. We have students who are active in their local communities, selflessly giving of their free time to help others in need, and yet others who are facing personal challenges and obstacles above and beyond the normal aspects of daily life. Tonight, the Gtcc Community Service Awards is being presented to students who are actively involved in service projects in their local communities while maintaining an outstanding 3.5 cumulative GPA or higher. We are also presenting the Gtcc Perseverance Award to students who have overcome significant challenges in their personal lives while producing exceptional academic work and maintaining an cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher. The faculty member who nominated students for these awards or representative of the Students Department will now introduce each award winner. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ralph Argento. I'm Department Chair of the Computer Technologies Department. For the past few years, I've had the pleasure of seeing Frances excel in her criminal justice courses at Gtcc. Frances has been a role model for the students not only in the classroom, but in her activities in the community. As a cybercrime student, Frances has been exposed to the current issues and has become more connected using technology. Laws are lacking behind leaps in our technology. Frances would like to continue to educate parents and children of the risks associated with being online, as well as share steps to protect children as they use technology. Frances understands that information technology is more than just using Facebook. In addition, Frances will also provide free translation services to those whom English is not their first language and in-depth explanations of how traffic laws function in the state of North Carolina. As a Latina and American Indian woman, Frances shares her experience and skills in information technology within Latin communities. Over the past 5 years, Frances offered a multitude of free classes on basic computer knowledge. The classes focus on demonstrating skills and concepts of what computers can do besides social media, like Facebook. Frances also understands the dangers of the internet and teaches the importance and awareness of what children are doing online. The classes include how to create limited user logins as opposed to letting a child have access to an administrator account. Another topic is how to implement Microsoft's Family Supervision Suite and explain the impact on social skills when a person dedicates too much time being online as opposed to having face-to-face conversations. In addition to her educational service, Frances offers free translation services to those whom English is not their first language and in-depth explanations of how traffic laws function in the state of North Carolina. Please join me in congratulating Frances Corusco-Serrano.
Good evening. My name is Jacob Daniely. I'm an instructor in entertainment technology. Over this last year, I've had the pleasure of teaching Ryan Johnson in my Introduction to Entertainment Technology, Recording Engineering 2, and Acoustics classes. As a student, Ryan's academic rigor, meticulous attention to detail, and pursuit of excellence have consistently allowed him to rise to the highest level in both participation and examination grading. In addition, his leadership qualities are very apparent as he is always in class on time, engaged in discussion, and broadening comprehension with thought-provoking questions. Outside of class, I've had the great opportunity to get to know Ryan not only as a student, but as a friend. Beginning with the entrepreneurship discussions during office hours, we have since broadened our acquaintance to include discussions about life, business, family, and faith. Remaining consistent with my initial in-class observations, Ryan truly is a man of integrity and high moral value. For the past 6 years, Ryan has volunteered his time to help alcoholics, addicts, and their loved ones recover from alcoholism, substance abuse, and consequences of their illnesses. In volunteering, Ryan attends meetings with other recovering alcoholics and takes addicts to homeless shelters, hospitals, treatment centers, and detention centers several times a month. He is a local district officer and volunteer web developer for an international award-winning association with the mission of rehabilitating alcoholics and addicts. For 2 years, Ryan has served as the local district officer in the High Point and Randolph County areas to provide coordination and information to people in need of recovery services. Additionally, He helps the surrounding professional community understand how to treat alcoholics. As Ryan pursues his long-term goal to create and facilitate an entertainment infrastructure for the Triad in North Carolina, I am confident that his work ethic, ability to overcome challenges, and desire to help others will allow him to not only succeed, but lead. Please join me in congratulating Ryan Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Renard Spratling, and I am an instructor in the computer science department. I have had the pleasure of teaching Jennifer Lee for the past 2 years in several web development degree courses. Upon graduation from Gtcc, Jennifer plans to continue her educational journey by pursuing a BA in PR Communications at a four-year university, Appalachian State University. In addition, she is also pursuing steps to launch a startup digital marketing agency to provide digital marketing and social media management services for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Jennifer and her sisters started a family project called Three Sisters Giving, through which they have taken on various community projects. Some of the projects include providing Thanksgiving meals for Greensboro's community table, making and distributing 150 blessing bags for the homeless every Christmas, and giving birthday parties for children served by Fairview Family Resource Center. They plan to grow this effort into a full 501c3 nonprofit to better serve the community. In addition to the work she is doing with her sisters, she regularly volunteers at Second Harvest Food Bank, stocking and sorting the food pantry. During her tenure as project manager at MA Cares, she led a team that raised money to help veterans suffering from PTSD obtain service dogs. As the project manager, she also organized many community service projects for children and families in the Triad through food and clothing drives for Backpack Beginnings. Please join me in congratulating Jennifer Lee.
Good evening. My name is Richard DePolt, and I am the interim division chair, confusing, for business, creative, and performing arts. All non-traditional students have a story. Each one has unique challenges, but all must be managed if one is to accomplish one's academic and personal goals. Nicole Dyson McNair has faced her own set of unique challenges over the past 4 years. Her role as student has often been in conflict with her roles as wife, mother, daughter, but she has managed to make them all work. While caring for 2 young children, one of whom has special needs, and her disabled parents, she has also managed to fulfill her duties as an officer of the Early Childhood Education Club and maintain a GPA of 3.5. Her determination to successfully meet all of her obligations is admirable, and we appreciate her perseverance. Wish her continued success as she continues her education and earns her master's degree in audiology. Please join me in congratulating Nicole Dyson McNair.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Scott, and I am an associate professor in the math department. I had the pleasure of teaching David Lambert in my Math 152 class last summer. As the coordinator for the Spark program for statistics, I also had the pleasure of working with him and he ended up conducting lots of Spark sessions for us in statistics and helping students all over campus. But David has faced some significant challenges in his academic career, including a chronic illness, Crohn's disease, which I happen to be very familiar with also because my daughter has it. For the last 17 years, David has fought the symptoms of his disease, which at times required hospitalization. Even more significant, David's chronic illness led to depression, which caused him to drop classes and give up on his academic pursuit for almost 10 years. Episodes of self-harm landed him in the hospital, and the search for an effective regimen and therapy and medication. Eventually, David felt comfortable enough to return to college in spring of 2016. When I met David last summer in my statistics class, I met a brilliant young man who was focused, determined, and had obviously overcome these challenges, to the point where they were not evident to me at all. I had no idea. David states that his relationships with instructors and other students on campus, in his classes, and with his work in Spark and other tutoring have further helped him to gain confidence and academic momentum. After completing his Associate in Arts degree, David will transfer to UNC Chapel Hill, where he was recently accepted, and continue his academic career. He will pursue both a bachelor's and master's degree in economics, and his goal is to work in the field of development economics, either domestically or internationally, and to use his knowledge to combat poverty. He has already begun to research the activities of economists engaged in this field and to investigate software, programming languages, and statistical techniques they're using. Please join me in congratulating David Lambert.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Thurman, and I'm an associate professor in the healthcare management program here at Gtcc. I have had the honor of instructing Will Poole in several of his courses in the HMT program. During his time at Gtcc, I have also served as his academic advisor, and I'm also very proud to say that in this time frame, he has become my friend. Will started the HMT program in the fall of 2013. I could tell from the beginning in my HMT 110 class that he was going to be a very good student. He was one of those students that scared you a little. He was intelligent but professional in his approach, but I knew that I was going to have to stay a couple of steps ahead of him at all times. Students like Will definitely keep you on your toes, but in a good way. I knew he would breeze through the curriculum in 2 years and that he would do well in his endeavors. Will continually demonstrated the ability to be an exceptional student. He never missed an assignment, but that changed in October of 2014. Life happened to Will. He was enrolled in my HMT 212 online course at the time, and 1 week in particular, he failed to submit his assignments. I immediately knew something was wrong because Will never misses an assignment. Within a day, I had phone calls from his sister and his stepfather to let me know that he was in the hospital and very sick with Legionnaire's pneumonia. This in itself helps you see who Will is. He was deathly ill in the ICU, and he had his family contact me to say why he had missed a deadline. So after he was diagnosed with Legionnaire's, I visited him in the hospital. I'm sure he was happy to see me waltzing up in his hospital room, but as a concerned advisor, that's where I went. While I was there, we discussed what was going on with him academically at that point, and after discussions with me and discussions with his physicians, he decided in that term that he would withdraw from classes completely at Gtcc because his health continued to decline. While pneumonia took him to the hospital, it was after many tests while he was there that it was ultimately determined that he had stage 4 kidney disease that was later followed by the diagnosis of cancer. So Will has overcome a lot. I don't want to get emotional, I'm sorry. So from October 2014, let me skip back. So he diagnosed with cancer. He now has one kidney, okay? And much like him, that one kidney is a very hard worker right now. From October 2014, from his initial diagnosis to December 2016, Will has slowly but surely completed his HMT degree requirements as his health would allow. Not only has he completed his degree, but he will graduate with honors. Will is someone that does something to the best of his abilities at all times. Even when he was very sick, in and out of the hospital, had zero energy, he persevered. He got up, did what he could do when he could do it, and he did it well. Sure, it took him longer, but now he's a graduate of the healthcare management program. He achieved his goal even though the path was not as clean or as straight as he would have wished it to be. As an instructor, it was an inspiring thing to watch, and I am so glad that I got to be on the journey. Once Will gets his kidney and his health returns to normal, he hopes to become a nursing facility administrator, and he will make a fine one. Until then, he is continuing his education here at Gtcc, where he's currently doing the coursework for the Medical Office Administration Certificate. Will continues to learn. He's a lifelong learner. Please join me in congratulating Will Poole, recipient of the Gtcc Perseverance Award.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Bennett. I'm the Division Chair for Human Services and Public Safety and came to GTCC a short time ago. In that time, I've heard remarkable things about one of our criminal justice students, Monique Stewart. Monique will be graduating in May with an Associate of Applied Science degree in criminal justice with a concentration in Homeland Security. Monique has faced numerous challenges while attending here at GTCC. She is a survivor of domestic violence, along with her brother and mother during the very first few months of her starting a program here at the college. This placed a heavy financial burden on her and her family and led them to relocate into a smaller place. During this time, Monique and her family were faced with mental, emotional, and physical stress. Monique dealt with these sudden changes in her life by applying herself more than ever in terms of her coursework, volunteering at church, participating in community service projects, and helping in multiple capacities with local youth ministries near her home. Monique has credited the value of volunteering to be both insightful and humbling, all while giving a whole new meaning to the phrase, service above self. Some of Monique's long-term goals include pursuing a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security with a focus of counterterrorism and intelligence, seeking a master's degree in criminal justice, serving in the United States Marine Corps officer as an officer, and gaining employment with a local state or local law enforcement agency. Please join me in congratulating Monique Stewart.
Has this been an inspiring evening so far? Yeah, it has. My name is Beth Catanzo. I have the privilege of serving as the Vice President of Instruction here at Guilford Tech, and I'm here to introduce the Student Excellence Awards that honor our students who have met very high academic standards, have been contributing members to the college community, and are making significant progress towards completing their academic and career goals. To get this award, they had to be nominated by faculty, and that was based on their classroom engagement, initiative, motivation, and steady focused progress toward their degree, as well as, again, involvement in activities at the college. These students are currently enrolled in associate degree programs and have a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Nominated students submitted applications detailing their GTCC activities and their specific educational and career goals. So again, nominating faculty members will introduce each student that is receiving an award this evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joshua Waterstone, and I am the lead instructor in the theater program in the Business and Creative and Performing Arts Division. I've seen the talents of Alex Acuff in local theatrical productions around town and had the immense pleasure of teaching him in my acting class last fall. I've also worked with him and directed him in Spontaneous, which is our resident improv troupe. Little plug, it happens every semester, you guys should come out. He auditioned for it and was cast in it last fall and performed with us. Alex is a strong performer, and as a student, he is both quick-witted, possesses a strong physicality as a performer, and has an intelligent and curious mind. Alex does not just take lessons at face value. He tests them against reason and his experience. And he's not afraid of discourse and disagreement. Education should be with the student and not forced upon the student. And Alex brings himself to his studies as a partner in his education. Alex is a role model to other students in that he's always was on time for class. He came eager to learn. He left his emotional baggage by the door. He also came prepared and ready to work. Many times in our Acting 1 class, Alex had already memorized and made clear and bold choices while the other students were still starting on their homework. He is thoughtful and he takes direction well. I saw Alex grow during the improvisation troupe Spontaneous, of which he was a troupe member, from looking at improv first from a more stand-up comic view to finding activity, relationship, and environment that allowed him to create worlds and fascinating characters and situations on stage. Alex also performed and spoke with potential students at the Greensboro Coliseum and helped us with recruiting. And he presents himself well, both as a performer as well as casually in front of a crowd. Alex is more than ready for the next level in his education. Alex will transfer to UNCG next year and pursue a degree in theater or English. His long-term goal is to pursue a master's in fine arts and theater at UNCG with an emphasis in directing. He has taken many steps towards this while in college, as he has maintained paid positions at High Point Community Theater since 2013 as a director, writer, scenic painter, stage manager, assistant stage manager, and actor. As a writer and director, his play The Condition was performed at the 14th Annual Greensboro Fringe Festival in 2016, and his play Appalachian Dreams will be performed at the 15th Annual Greensboro Fringe in 2017. Alex also assisted with some of our spring rehearsals at Gtcc Theater, adding some of his writing and as an assistant director on our spring original play Under Construction 2017. Please join me in congratulating Alex Acuff on this well-deserved.
Good evening. My name is Linda Jingles, and I am a nursing instructor in the Health Sciences Department. For the past 2 years, I have known Joshua and was one of his associate professors during that time. I had the pleasure of teaching Josh Broadwell in my Intro to Health Concepts class. I was also Joshua's advisor. What makes Joshua so unique is his determination of excellence in his academic achievements and commitment to and passion for the professional development that he is continuing to gain. Also, Joshua is instrumental in contributing to the academic work that has inspired his peers. Joshua would never say that he is a role model for anyone, but he definitely is. Joshua has been a role model for other nursing students through his tutoring with some of his peers. Just because he wants to see everyone make it through the nursing program, he has also demonstrated skills and attributes that are necessary for being an effective registered nurse, which has offered inspiration to many others. Joshua has made many efforts and has achieved academic proficiency. Joshua has grown by leaps and bounds since the first semester of nursing school. He has been involved in numerous activities over the past 2 years. He is the president of his senior graduating class, which will be graduating May the 5th. Joshua is a student advisor to the Associate's Degree Advising Committee, having been a student representative for GTCC's ribbon cutting ceremony, which was at Union Square. Joshua headed the service and outreach campaign that their class wanted to facilitate for the flooding victims in Lumberton, North Carolina, as well as he personally drove the goods to the families. He has volunteered for cancer screenings at Cone Health on more than one occasion, served on the advising committee for GTCC's nursing program, and participated in and helped man a booth at the Walk to End Autism. Joshua plans on attending a 2+ RN bridge program for his bachelor's degree in the science of nursing at either North Carolina A&T or UNCG. He has also been asked to apply at clinical rotations for units that he trained on as a senior nursing student. Joshua has already secured a job at the Critical Care Academy at High Point UNC Health ICU department. This position will provide the needed experience for his certifications that will be required for his dream nursing job. Joshua's long-term goal is to be a helicopter flight nurse. Please join me in congratulating Joshua Broadwell.
Good evening. My name is Renee Parrish, and I am the Radiography Program Director. Since August of 2015, it's been my great honor to teach Emma Busick. Emma has been in my Procedures 1, 2, and 3 class, Imaging 2, Physics 1, and Capstone. I also visit Emma at various clinical rotation assignments. I have been her advisor to the State X-Ray Society. It's the North Carolina Society for Radiologic Technologists for 2 different competitions. It's for, one was for an exhibit competition and 2 was for a review of literature student paper. I also am the program pinning advisor, and I work directly with Emma. You know, what makes Emma unique is she is constant. She's always in charge of her emotions, manages her stress. I mean, nothing shakes her. Nothing. She was hired by a clinic site because of her outstanding performance during the program, and she has been working for Moses Cone Hospital since May of 2016 as a student radiographer. And I've heard that she's doing an excellent job, and she has also been offered a position to continue that after graduation. She has impacted her classmates in many ways. She's matured way beyond her years. And for example, a peer of Emma's said to me once in class, "I want to be like Emma when I grow up." Now, the catch here is the student is probably 20 years older than Emma. And then she said, "And we really all want to be like Emma." So, you know, I think Emma is always patient and kind, compassionate, and thoughtful. She demonstrates a strong work ethic. She has goals, works diligently toward them in achieving success, and she has a prize-winning attitude. Makes my job so easy. Emma's demonstrated leadership and academic success. She's the Radiography Club president. She was the technical bowl team chair for the North Carolina Society of Radiologic Technologists competition while at the state meeting. She organizes service projects for the club, and she's also working with me on planning the pinning for the class program. She's a member of the Phi Theta Kappa Society since April of 2015. She has made application and actually been accepted to East Carolina University. She's going to be working toward an online bachelor's degree program, a BS program, in health services management. She has aspirations of being a supervisor or a department director of a radiology department. And she also, following her undergraduate degree, she is going to do some advanced degree and certification in computerized axial tomography. You may know that as CT. Please join me in congratulating Emma Caroline Busey.
Good evening. My name is Astrid Todd, and I'm an Associate Professor of Cybercrime and Computer Forensics in the Computer Technologies Department. For the past several years, I have had the pleasure of teaching Frances Carrasco Serrano in my cybercrime classes. I've also been her faculty advisor and advisor for the Raleigh, North Carolina STEM Alliance Research Symposium, in which she recently took first place. Frances is unique in many ways, from her life experience and her path to GTCC to her present activities here at GTCC. She has shared with me stories of her past which prove her uniqueness. One story she has told me is about her stint on a construction site and her struggle to make her skeptical co-workers believe that she could do the work they could, even though she is a female. She took it upon herself to imitate what they would do, and soon enough, she was up on the roof cutting plywood like the guys. Subsequently, when she showed up for work with her own tools, they were suitably impressed. Now, besides being a framing cutter, she is also a master tile setter and is currently working on a Chrysler 3.9-liter engine, rebuilding it on her truck in order to save money. Her mentality of not worrying about what others think about her gained her the respect of coworkers and her boss. She was not content at just picking up trash because she knew she was capable of so much more. Frances is the ideal student. She is a single mom who values education and always goes beyond what is expected of her. Since she tends to be ahead of other students in her work, she is always willing to stop and help the other students. Some of the primary personal characteristics needed for success in the cybercrime field are those of patience and tenacity, which Frances has in abundance. Frances says, "I don't stop it easy, and when the doors shut in my face, I come in through the basement. People don't keep up with those window locks." Ever the go-getter, Frances is always seeking new opportunities and researching the possibilities. She recently applied for and received a NASA scholarship. She has also joined many clubs during her tenure here at GTCC, including the STEM Club and Write Club. For her long-term goals, Frances wants to help change the laws of the cyber world, which she says are currently very obscure, and implement advanced security features to prevent the distribution of child pornography. Please join me in congratulating Frances Carrasco Serrano.
Good evening. My name is Dina St. Peter, and I'm the Humanities Department Chair. I first taught Jana in the fall of 2015 in my Humanities 130 Myth and Human Culture course. The following year, she took 2 of my World Literature courses, World Literature 1 and World Literature 2. Jana has overcome numerous obstacles to be here today. A high school dropout, she started in our adult basic education program, earned her GED, and began college classes shortly after. Jana is a model student, enthusiastic, dedicated, eager to learn, and passionate to share her knowledge with others. She's also very creative. In my world mythology course, she created Odin out of dryer sheets. And in my world literature course, she brought Ovid up into the 20th century, creating a resume for him and also a web presence with Twitter tweets and various memes and other things. Jana has excelled here at Gtcc, and she now works as an intern in our marketing and public relations office, writing articles for our website, taking photos, writing press releases, and handling social media, among other duties. She is active in the Global Scholars Program and the Model UN, serving as club secretary for both groups. Last fall, she joined the City of Greensboro's College Commission, and this spring was elected vice chair. Jana hopes to transfer to UNCW, where she plans to major in literature with a minor in creative writing, which will allow her to pursue a career as a teacher, journalist, or children's book author. As part of this, she hopes to study abroad in Ireland. Please join me in congratulating Jana Carver.
I'm Jackie Simpson. I'm the Associate Professor of Sociology here. And I first met Aaron Duran almost 2 years ago in the fall of 2015 when he enrolled in my Introduction to Sociology class. He's not a particularly boisterous student, so it took me a little while to realize that he is exactly the type of student that those of us that are professors love to have in class. He's attentive, he's prepared, he's insightful, and he's hardworking. I was so impressed that I mentioned Aaron to a psychology colleague. This person also had Aaron in class, and that semester reiterated that Aaron was a keeper in all regards. I've since had the pleasure of having Aaron in 4 different classes, and no surprise, Aaron earned an A in every one. In fact, he not only earned an A in every one of my classes, Aaron has earned an A in every class he has taken here at GTCC. Because of his hard work and determination, Aaron will graduate from GTCC with a 4.0 grade point average. We will miss him here. Not only is Aaron an excellent student, but he's been an asset to Guilford Technical Community College. For the past year, Aaron has been a student ambassador for our campus, conducting tours of the campus for prospective students, serving on campus blood drives, and being the student representative on our disciplinary committee. As a veteran, he's also been active in the Student Veterans Association. After he transfers to Appalachian State University, Aaron plans to continue his work with veterans by pursuing a degree in psychology and joining ROTC with the eventual goal of becoming a commissioned officer. As Aaron puts it, soldiers don't respect psychologists or therapists as much as those who have served. So I believe it's important to continue my personal service with the military as long as I can for the benefit of my eventual clients, who I hope to assist in the future. Our loss is App State and Veterans Gain. Please join me in congratulating Aaron on his accomplishments and wishing him the very best in his future endeavors.
My name is Linda Johnson, and I'm the Program Director for Early Childhood Education here at Guilford Tech. I've had the pleasure of teaching and working with Sally Light in her first Early Childhood Practicum Field Placement class and also in Educational Technology course. Sally brings a love of children and a passion that's indescribable to work with children in the early childhood profession. She's willing to assist other students in class to help them understand concepts, share ideas, and she also has served as a leader in our early childhood education club. She continues to build her confidence in working with children and consistently demonstrates her leadership and awesome professionalism. Sally plans to continue her education at UNCG this fall, majoring in early childhood education. Sally's goal is to have her own classroom and continue her work with children. And she says wherever that may take her or lead her. And those children in her classroom will be truly, truly blessed. Please join me in congratulating Sally White.
My name is Jeff Underwood. I'm the program director for the air conditioned heating refrigeration program here at Gtcc. I've had the privilege to instruct Matthew Medlin in several of his HVAC classes and advise him for the State Skills USA competition, in which he finished third in the state. Matthew sets an example for his peers with his work ethic. He helps encourage his classmates and has taken advantage of his time here at Gtcc. He's a student ambassador representing Gtcc in the community and school functions. He's a student representative on our program advisory committee. Matthew came to GTCC looking for a career change, and his hard work and dedication have paid off. Upon graduating, Matt will be working full-time with Hoffman & Hoffman Incorporated on some of the most advanced HVAC equipment in the industry. Please join me in congratulating Matthew Medlin.
Hi, I'm Susan Powell. I'm Department Chair for Public Service, and I am also an instructor in the Criminal Justice Program. I met Monique Stewart 2 years ago when she was a new student in the Criminal Justice Program and was immediately impressed with her intelligence, initiative, and desire to succeed. Monique not only takes advantage of opportunities for success that are available to her by volunteering as a role player in our basic law enforcement training and acting as a peer tutor, she creates opportunities for herself and others, including me, because I got roped in on the Christmas project and loved it. I enjoyed it. She was the driving force behind the first criminal justice outreach project through Samaritan's Purse, resulting in 36 Christmas gift shoeboxes that were distributed to underprivileged children. She ran the testing center in the Skills USA criminal justice competitions for me last year with military precision, when the best I'd been able to accomplish up to that point was kind of organized chaos. So she's going to be there next week, and every year after that I can get her to come back from wherever it is that she's going. Being so academically gifted, she also has a 4.0, and so highly motivated by itself might be off-putting to her fellow students, but if Monique weren't also so genuinely kind, caring, and helpful to her fellow students, they just all seem to be drawn to her. She's driven to achieve the high goals that she has set for herself, but she also takes the time to help uplift others along the way. Dr. Bennett explained her ultimate career goals to go into federal intelligence, state law enforcement, local law enforcement, the Marine Corps. I just know that whatever she decides upon, she'll do it. Whatever she aspires to do, she will achieve. So help me in congratulating Monique for her academic excellence award. Put my stuff down with both hands. I'll hand it to her.
It is my pleasure to introduce the presenter of our next award. Dr. Darrell Saunders was appointed to the State Board of Community Colleges in 2011 by the North Carolina House of Representatives. He earned a doctorate in education from the University of Alabama, a master's degree in education from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and a Bachelor of Science degree from Appalachian State University. A lifelong educator, Dr. Saunders served as a professor at 4 private colleges for a total of 19 years and as a high school principal for 18 years. He's also worked as a teacher, a recruiter, a real estate broker, and has taught Sunday school for 30 years. Dr. Saunders has a personal connection to GTCC as his granddaughter is a current student in our nursing program. Please join me in welcoming one of our state board members, Dr. Darrell Saunders.
Where is my granddaughter? Maybe she'll be here next year. Do you believe in miracles? That's what Al Michael said, I think, in 1980 when the United States beat Russia. In the last seconds, he yelled that out into the mic. And all you had to do was be here tonight, and you'll believe in miracles. Mr. Smith, no doubt about it, you're a miracle. And the person I'm going to talk about tonight also, I believe, is a miracle. And you know what? There's a lot of people in between us that are also miracles of your own right. You've done some great things with adverse conditions. Just being in a class to study can be adverse, can it? It's tough. It's tough to make 4.0, I guess. Did you notice the professors look younger and younger? I don't know why that is. But one of the professors who talked about Gina Carver pretty well stole my notes. So I'm going to ad-lib a little bit. I did meet her just earlier, and she dropped out of school in 11th grade, and at 19 years old, she didn't know what to do with her life. She really did. She had been homeschooled, and then things went badly wrong at home, and so she, of course, suffered from confidence that was gone away, and she dropped out in the 11th grade and went to live with her grandparents. And one day her grandparents were, and she were going into a Food Line grocery store, and she picked up one of those famous Gtcc course catalogs. It's a weapon. And she thought about it for a week or so, didn't do anything with it, and then she decided to make the call and made connection with this wonderful school. And you know, it's little things in life like that that change your whole perspective. And just little small things, like when I got ready to go to grad school, a black cat ran across in front of me, and I was like, oh man, over at Chapel Hill. But it is little things that make a difference. And just one smile from one teacher, one good grade, anything good can really make a difference in your life. I know that because I struggled a lot academically, having no background whatsoever to go to college, and pretty well achieved my goals the way I wanted to do them. Probably should have done more, but we all feel that way at times. So education for her, Gina, seemed out of reach. It's like, how can you go from 11th grade dropout to college? How can you do that? It's a miracle if you pull that off, and she did it. She came here and got in the bridge program and went from a GED right into college. That's a miracle, in my opinion, to be able to do that. It's certainly not easy. But she started to believe in herself, and she says it's because of you, some of you professors out there. You helped her have more confidence. You know what? That's what a teacher's supposed to do. So you're just doing your job, right? It really is. She's in her 5th semester now, working on an Associate of Arts degree. You heard all of that earlier by the professor. And members of 2 or 3 great clubs that are here. And she works for the community college as well, in marketing and public information. And her goal is to transfer to a 4-year university. I think she said UNC Wilmington would be a great place to go. And to one day be a writer. Can't wait to buy that book, because I know she's going to be a great writer. She said, I had no idea what was possible for me. My teachers saw me and saw where I could go, and all I could see is where I was and where I came from. We're all a little bit that way, aren't we? We can't really see into the future, but people can help you see that sometimes. She said, my greatest obstacle was me. And that's true, and we get in our own way, don't we, a lot of times. It's my honor tonight to present Gina with this 2017 Academic Excellence Award. It's one that's given one per school in all 58 of the community colleges, and to be eligible, a student has to be currently enrolled and complete at least 12 hours in an associate degree program and have a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.25 and to submit an essay. So join me in congratulating the 2017 Academic Excellence Award winner, Gina Carver, and if she'll come forward. I have 4 granddaughters, and if you'd like to apply to be one, I'd be happy to accept your application.
Good evening. My name is Sheila May, and I'm the Associate Vice President of Instruction. I want to thank you once again for joining us this evening to recognize our outstanding students. The support and encouragement that come from their families, friends, and faculty make a difference in their success. We appreciate you all being here to help celebrate their accomplishments of our award winners. And to our excellent students, we want to say congratulations again. We are proud of all that you have achieved, and we know that you will continue to achieve great things. I also would like to thank the committee and the co-chairs. Their names are listed in your program, and to invite you to continue the celebration in the lobby with our students by joining us for refreshments. Thank you and have a great evening.